I just don't really know how to start this video. I mean, where do you start when you lose in double OT to the Cleveland Cavaliers? Now, I'm not going to disrespect the Cavs. They're a fine team. I just have no idea what the Detroit Pistons are doing currently, and it's just making my mind explode, if I'm being honest. Let's just reel off a couple of things that I saw in this game that I just thought were quite funny. JaVale McGee going coast to coast for a dunk. Nice. We love to see that. Blake Griffin making up the core three of Oklahoma college players that just clearly can't defend. I don't know what they teach them at that school, but it's not defense, because Blake, Trae Young, and Buddy Hield, yeah, they'd give up 270 points a night. I've seen 90-year-olds with hips and knees better than Blake Griffin. He can't move. Sure, he can hit the occasional three ball, and he hit 8 of them tonight, but what else is he doing? He used to be someone that could get to the rim. He used to be someone that would post up and kick out of the double team and make plays for his teammates. Now all of a sudden he can only be bothered taking threes and not defending and not getting into the paint and not kicking it out. Don't be deceived. Yeah, sure, I'm happy to see him drop 26 points because it might be one step closer to getting rid of him. But I thought he was still going to be someone that could post up. He was still going to be someone that could pass out of the post. He wouldn't be the terrible defender he is, and he's all of those things. Just because he hit a couple of shots tonight, sure, his three-point is improved, but it's not sustainable to expect him to do this every single night. So if you think he's going to be dropping 25 a night after this performance, I've got news for you. He's not the same player. And that's a shame, because I thought he'd come back. I'll take responsibility for that. I was wrong. I thought he'd come back and he'd still be able to do the things he can do. But at the moment, he's either injured to the point where he can't, or he just can't be bothered. And I can't make up my mind because his headspace isn't there as well. He shakes his head when pretty much anyone makes a mistake, and I'm just sick of it. Killian Hayes makes a mistake and he's over there like, like, you're supposed to be the leader of the team, and you clearly just aren't ready to kind of accept that these guys are going to make mistakes, that you make mistakes and have probably made plenty over the course of your career. So I don't know why players like this always shake their head and always look like, oh, everyone sucks, all of this. Like, it's just not good leadership. I don't know if he's a good leader in practice, but he's clearly not one on game day, because he's always shaking his head. He's always sulking. He's always doing the wrong things, and it's just kind of irritating me at this point. Oh yeah, what else is there to take out of this game? Okay, so if you're a first-round pick, or if you're any kind of promising young player that's going to make mistakes, it's a part of your development. That's going to happen. Don't do them. Don't make mistakes. Don't miss any shots. Don't miss any passes. Don't turn the ball over. Don't miss a defensive rotation, because Coach Casey will sit you for the game. He won't just sit you for 1 quarter. He'll sit you for 2, 3, 4, and your night's done. You play 2 minutes and you miss 1 shot, you're out. It's simple as that. And he'll bring in Mason Plumlee and Derrick Rose and combine their minutes for 80 a game. Like, Killian Hayes was probably having his best game so far. I think he shot 1 for 7 and only scored 3 points. So maybe you think, oh, it wasn't a good game. No, he made about 4 really, really nice passes where he actually cut the defense open and found open cutters who decided to go back out to the three-point line because they weren't capable of finishing at the rim. But that just sums up the Pistons. So he made like 4 or 5 of those really nice passes. He was actually getting to the rim, and he made a floater. He got to the lane a couple of times. His shots weren't necessarily always falling, but that's a part of the process. I saw enough from him to suggest he can't be much worse than what Derrick Rose was offering. I'm not going to slander Rose because he's been great for us in the 1.5 years he's been with us, but at the same time, he just wasn't playing well tonight, and he wasn't good on defense. Like, Sexton was slicing through him every single time. Hayes is probably already a better defender, so I don't know why Hayes couldn't get back in the game after halftime or after the 3rd quarter. It's baffling to me, because he was actually playing pretty well, and he was the only one really moving the ball. Everyone else was just hogging the ball. This is more annoying than last year. Last year we had to watch Brandon Knight and John Henson on the floor every single game, but this year we've actually got young players that can perform and have already proven they can perform, but they need some kind of time on the court to actually do so. The last time Sekou got meaningful minutes, he delivered, and now every single time he makes one mistake, he's out of the game for the rest of the game. Same can be said for Hayes to a lesser degree, but if he makes one mistake in the quarter, he's out for the rest of the quarter. Saddiq Bey came in for 5 minutes, missed a shot, and he's out. It's just like, you can't be doing that. Josh Jackson's been fantastic for us the last 4 games, including preseason and the game against the Timberwolves. He had a couple of missed threes, and then he didn't play the second half? Like, I just don't understand what Casey is trying to do with his rotations. I understand he's trying to win and save his job, but at what detriment? You're playing Blake Griffin 45 minutes, you're playing Plumlee 35, you're playing Okafor 15, you're playing Rose 35, you're playing Jeremy Grant like 50 minutes. Grant was actually good. That's a positive to take out of the game. Grant was good, and it's a positive because hopefully it means we can trade him for more first-round picks, because this team sucks. That's the only positive, and that's what I thought about this contract. Yeah, you bring him in, and maybe he's good enough to the point where he takes another step, and he helps your team now. He's young enough to do that. Or maybe, hopefully, he's good enough to the point where a contender wants him, and they give up some picks for him, and hopefully that's enough to suggest that a contender might want him at some point in time if he can continue to drop 20 points a night. Grant's going to get his chances to score, even though none of those guys passed the ball. It's complete isolations. I didn't see the ball move once outside of when Killian Hayes was on the floor, and he's a rookie, so he's probably not used to the ways. That's probably why he's the only one moving the ball, because back in France, when he was playing internationally, he was probably used to moving the ball around in a system, some kind of a system where you have offense, you have moving pieces, you have pick and rolls, you have pick and pops. That's probably what he was doing before he came to the Pistons, and now he's still got some of those bad habits where he decides to pass the ball. You know those bad habits where you make a pass or you try to find a cutter or open shooter? Those are those bad habits that Casey's trying to get out of him. Let's get it into his head where he's just got to take isolations and deep threes, because that's apparently the way of the Pistons, and that's apparently what's led us to the 0-2 record that we currently have. Pretty sure these were like the only 2 easy games we had for the start of the season, so don't expect any wins. I looked at our record, and immediately any hopes of us making somewhat of a push for the 10th seed in terms of the seeding games, which I'll say before the season I was relatively optimistic we could do something like that. The playoffs that I was talking about a couple of months ago, don't hold that against me, because that was a completely different team with guys like Luke Kennard, Christian Wood. I was thinking Blake Griffin would get back healthy. I was thinking we'd get a top draft pick and sign a free agent. Yes, optimistic, but that was what I was thinking, and it was all plausible. None of them happened because we got rid of Luke Kennard, we let Christian Wood go, and we signed Mason Plumlee and Jeremy Grant, who's been okay, but yeah, we signed those guys instead of what I was hoping for, so yeah, I wasn't expecting the playoffs after the roster reconfiguration, but I was expecting us to be a bit better than this. Look, we've lost narrowly, and that kind of says something that we've still got talent on the roster, because when you're making these kind of rotations and you're not moving the ball at all, you're not playing defense, you're not doing anything well, and you're still keeping in touch in games, it shows that there's some kind of talent on this roster, and I think there is. Not enough talent to make the playoffs, but enough to win at least one of the first 2 games instead of losing them both after being on top for most of the game and then just choking a lead. I mean, if it's tanking, then this is absolutely perfected by Casey. If this is his art of tanking, trying to get Cade Cunningham 2021, this is artwork. This is something else to watch. If his way of tanking is look competitive through the first 3.5 quarters, be in front for most of that time, and then let the other team come back in, drag it to overtime, and then just kind of slip it up. Now, they did it twice in the Cavs game. They actually had a 10-point lead or something in overtime, and then they're like, oh, we'll just turn the ball over. We'll just have 4 consecutive empty possessions. Oh, we'll actually have a shot clock violation as well. No worries. Overtime. The one thing you don't want to do when you have a chance to win the game off a shot. Don't let the shot clock violate. I mean, heave it up from half court if you have to, but when you have a mid-range shot and you pass out of it, and then the buzzer goes, that's a little bit of an error. I don't know what's going on there, so that's a little bit of an error. Do we hold that against Casey? No, but at the same time, there's just absolutely no movement on this team, and this team's just, it's a bit stinky. It's a bit smelly. Look, this is a rant. There's no coherent things that I'm saying, and I don't know what to say. Like, the Pistons, I thought they'd be better than this. Maybe I was just too optimistic. I'm always too optimistic when it comes to teams like the Pistons and whatever other teams I follow in other sports, but the reality is, like, I don't care if we go 0-72 if I see some kind of promise, but I care if we go 0-72 and I have to watch Mason Plumlee and Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin and Zelon Wright and all of these guys play 72 games of the season and play 40 minutes a night. That's when I start to care. That's when it starts to get annoying. Not when we're losing, I can deal with that. I've seen enough teams that I follow lose a lot. Trust me, I'm not a bandwagoner. I can deal with a team losing 70 games. I don't care. I just care that we're actually making the right moves for this franchise going forward, and leaving Mason Plumlee and not giving Isaiah Stewart any minutes. Sadiq Bey makes one mistake. He's out of the game for the rest of the game. Sekou played fantastic in his last preseason game. Hasn't got minutes since. Killian Hayes was having his best game so far in terms of reading the defense and making the right plays. They sit him for Derrick Rose, who shot 4 of 15 and turned the ball over about 6 times in crunch time. Does that sum it up? Is there anything else I've missed? I don't know what else, because that seems to sum it up. Look, that's pretty much all I've got to say. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Cool. Catch you next time. Hope you don't have to watch the Pistons every night like I do, so that's not an enjoyable experience.